Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I'm sure you've seen, as of now, most brothers are doing lessons on this topic, but we're seeing the 10 toes begin to break up. We're seeing NATO, the beginnings of NATO breaking up. And so I've got this article pulled up. It's from Fox News, came out a few days ago. And even as of this coming out, there's more revelations that are coming out. But it came out March 3rd, and it says a mayor exit, kind of a playoff of Brexit, Britain breaking away from NATO, EU. It says Republicans push for U.S. to leave NATO amid stalled Ukraine peace negotiations. So it says momentum is building among some Republicans and SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk to withdraw the U.S. from NATO amid stalled negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. This has been going on for a while, since 2014, and they've been trying to come to a ceasefire, but it's not seeming to work out. But these EU nations, the ones in Europe, understand that Ukraine is basically a barrier to Russia at this point, and that they're occupied or preoccupied with Ukraine currently, but things could spread out further if this war gets outside of Ukraine. So these Europeans are worried. It says while President Donald Trump reportedly privately floated pulling the U.S. from the alliance during his first term, Senator Mike Lee of Utah has publicly backed such efforts in recent weeks and said it's time to leave the alliance after NATO countries held an emergency meeting with Ukraine in London without the U.S. So you can see there's already some distance being placed between each other. Says Lee said in an X post on Sunday that if NATO is moving on without the U.S. should move on from NATO. Lee also suggested various names for the movement on Monday. And you look into the history of NATO, it was formed as a alliance against Russia, and it should have dissolved after the USSR fell, but it did not, and now Russia is back. And this is actually a time when, speaking for them, when they would need NATO the most, because Russia has built itself back and stronger, and they're taking their territories back, Ukraine being one of them. It says what we should call the movement to get America out of NATO a mayor exit, NAT exit, Lee said in an X post on Monday, referencing Brexit, the term used to describe the UK's withdrawal from the EU. It's a good thing our NATO allies give us such favorable trade terms based on the fact that we provide a disproportionate share of their security needs. Oh wait, they don't, Lee said in another Monday post on X. So there's Mike Lee right there. But anyway, this is beginning to pick up more and more steam, and we're seeing, Lord will, this is it, the dismantling of NATO, or at least the withdrawing of the U.S. from NATO. And this is going to go into the beast hating the whore and burning her with fire, which will soon come. Salakia had to step out for a second. But from here, let's hit the scriptures. We're going to go straight to Daniel 2, because this is where it's spoken of. These 10 toes, which makes up the NATO and EU, which is prophesied to be the last kingdom on this earth before Yahushua returns, and he's going to put them down completely. This is Daniel 2 and verse 41, and this is from Nebuchadnezzar's dream, in which Daniel interpreted. And it says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided." And you could already see that within NATO. "But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay." And this strength of the iron that speaking of, this is going back to Rome, because Rome was described as having iron teeth, and within this statue that Nebuchadnezzar saw, Rome made up the legs of it, which were made of iron. And so with the formation of the EU, in which it was started with the EEC, it took place with the Treaty of Rome. So it was them trying to bring back Rome, in which it is. This is also NATO and the EU are also that beast whose deadly wound was healed. And so Rome rose back up again. And it's partly, well, really, it's Rome that's risen again. And that's who the end comes through. Verse 42, "And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken." And you see this especially economically within Europe or within the EU. You have those pigs nations, which are made up of Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. That makes up the pigs, and these are known as having lesser economies compared to, Germany and Britain, which Britain left. But the other nations, France as well, the pigs are not on the same economic platform, so that would make up the clay. The clay also showing, the iron and clay showing that they don't mix. These two, they're not all the same substance, and they don't mix together. Verse 43, "And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." That's what I was just going into. They don't mix together. And so they're not all on the same page, even though they make up, or even though they're all of the same nation, that being the nation of Edom, so-called white people, these Europeaners. They can't all get on the same page, which is going to cause a breakup. And that's what we're seeing, these toes going in different directions. It says, "And in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever." And so Yahushua, being that great millstone, is going to come and destroy this kingdom. He's going to destroy NATO, EU, and all Gentile kingdoms and power on this earth. He's going to put it all under his foot. He's going to put down all rule, power, and authority. And it's going to stay down because his kingdom, Yahushua's kingdom, the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of heaven, will reign forever and ever, just as it just said. And it's not going to be left to other people, showing that not everyone can be saved. Let's go to Revelation 17. And we'll start at 13. "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast," just to show that link between Daniel 2 and Revelation 17, showing those 10 toes that were spoken of in Daniel 2 are actually this beast. And then to skip down to show the end of this beast, or one of the ends, because there's quite a few calamities that are going to come upon the beast in the end, and especially the whore that rides the beast, being that whore being America. And it says, "And the 10 horns make up the vassal states or the of the Roman Empire, and in nowadays terms, it's the EU, all of those nations. So France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, gonna even include Britain there with it, and so on and so forth. Those make up the vassal states of Rome, which are basically the vassal states of the whore that rides the beast, which is America. So they all follow after America, but you're seeing they're all kind of breaking up, going in their own directions. These toes are being separated currently. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." The whore is America. And you could see that hate. They'd already spoken of it, and people hate Americans around the world, but it's going to turn into physical violence. And it says, "And shall make her desolate and naked." So naked, going into some of the exposure that's happened. "And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." Esau's being exposed, and he's going to be completely brought down for all of their sins, which naked also shows sin. "And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." They're going to shoot ICBMs onto this whore, and then America will never ever exist again. Forever. And this is huge to see these prophecies coming to pass. And Lord will, they speed up, and we get even more prophecies coming to pass all the way up until Yahushua returning. And so, Lord will, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushua Bahasham, Urcha Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.